Hello, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl here, Sherunda Simone, and I'm back with another video. So for today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you how I batch prepare meals for my 7-month-old. I'm going to share breakfast, lunch, dinner, as well as snack options, and I like to prepare enough meals for a minimum of 3 days. So starting off with breakfast, she's really been enjoying overnight oats with pear puree. Now you can use any fruit for the puree, but I've recently introduced pears into her diet. So the first thing I do is take the oats and mill them down with the baby bullet. You can use quick oats, which I like because they soften over time, or you can use old-fashioned oats as well. So once the oats are milled down, I'm going to add the almond milk, and it's unsweetened. For this step, you can use water, prepared formula, or breast milk. I also like to add a little bit of cinnamon just to give it some flavor. Now the consistency is still a bit thick and lumpy, so I'm going to use the puree blade for the baby bullet, and I'm going to just puree the oatmeal so that it's more smooth. The pear puree is going to be very thin, which helps to thin out the consistency of the oatmeal. Now, since she's only 7 months old, all of her meals are still supplemented with formula. Any leftover puree, I go ahead and store it in the freezer for future recipes, and sometimes I also like to give it to her as a popsicle, which helps with teething. For her breakfast meals, I like to use the smaller baby bullet containers because they hold just enough for her breakfast meals. Sometimes she likes a little bit more, so I make sure I have enough containers for her. And then also too, the baby bullet containers have the dials on them so that you can indicate when the food is going to expire. So no matter who's feeding her, they know when the food is no longer fresh. So snack options, I like to have fruits available for her. So this week I'm using bananas and tangerines. Now I like to use this little mesh feeding pouch because you can stick a vegetable, fruit, anything really in there that you want for the baby to eat without having to worry about choking hazards. And so I just stick the fruit in there, and I like to have the fruit actually frozen. That way, again, it helps soothe her gums because she is teething. Now to store the fruit in the freezer, I have these containers I picked up from Amazon, and I go ahead and store the fruit in there, pop them in the freezer, and then throughout the day when she needs a snack, I just pull a slice or two of the bananas out, and then I just give it to her in that little feeding pouch, and she's good to go. And I pretty much just do the same thing with the tangerine pegs. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and the bell if you are a Christ follower who loves lifestyle videos. Now, a second snack option are these little bread bites, and she's really enjoying these because it's helping her with her grabbing skills. So once I toast the bread, I use this little contraption that I got, I think from Dollar Tree a few years ago, and it just helps to cut the bread into easily managed squares. So I'm going to put the little bread bites down on some wax paper first, and I'm going to make sure they're all in a single layer. And then I just use the rolling pin just to flatten out the bread bites. That way they're nice and thin, and it's a less likelihood that they'll cause any issues when she's eating. So they just dissolve in her mouth, and again, I love the size because she can just grab them with her fingers, and it really helps with her development and her dexterity. To store the bread bites, I use these little containers that I picked up from the Dollar Tree, and I believe about 6 or 8 came in the pack. If needed, you can break the bread bites into smaller pieces as well. And I don't keep them in the refrigerator, and they last for about 3 days, but usually she finishes them long before. So moving on to lunch, this week she's having sweet potatoes and peas with apple puree. So if you notice the color of the peas, they are pure organic, no artificial colors or hormones. I get them from a local farmer here in town, so they don't have that vibrant green color, but they're extremely healthy and all natural. And I like to use some kind of fruit just to give the food a nice flavor, because baby food does not have to be gross. I know a lot of the jar food that I've tasted just with, my children, I'm like, yuck, how can they eat this? So I like to make sure that the food actually tastes good. So this is the puree we're left with. It's nice and smooth, and it actually has a really good flavor. So for her lunch, I'm going to store them again in these little containers, and I use different colors for different meals, again just for ease and for organization. And then for dinner, she's going to be having sweet potatoes and peas with cauliflower this week. So the leftover peas and sweet potato, I use that, and then I also mix in some cauliflower rice, which is really good because it just adds another vegetable with more nutrients and vitamins. And for the liquid parts of any of these recipes, you can switch it up based on your preference, your baby's preference. So you can use breast milk, prepared formula, water, almond milk, soy milk. The possibilities are endless. Dinner goes in the blue containers. Again, just trying to keep everything organized. So there you have it, breakfast, lunch, dinner, as well as snack options. Let me know in the comment section down below what combinations and recipes your little one likes, because I would love to try some new things for baby Gigi. If you haven't already, make sure to check out my nighttime routine, because I share some really great must-have Amazon items for your little one. Thank you so very much for watching. I really appreciate it. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, as well as comment and subscribe. So until next time, I am Sherunda Simone, and remember, I will either see you at the top or from the top. You decide. Bye.